القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Welcome to the video on Makharij, where we'll start going through the different areas of articulation. In this video we'll be looking at the huruf al-Jawf, the letters that come from the empty space of the mouth, and also the huruf al-Halq. So let's get started with the empty letters, so the empty space. The first one is alif and waw and ya. So this is very easy. The alif, the med comes from the empty space in the area, and it's just it's very easy, very simple. Everyone can do this. Maybe start doing that from a young age as well. So we don't spend much time on this. But the waw has the sound of oo, oo. And it's very important that there is a circling of the lips with the sound coming from the empty space of the mouth. Now there must be a circling of the lips, remember. Ooh. So there has to be a circle shape. And the ya is e, e. So the sound comes from the empty space of the mouth. But we say e, e. Now there are some tips when you're reciting. Again, raise the tongue when you're pronouncing the ya. Don't say say e. Okay, and the reason why you raise the tongue is to channel the sound to have that good sound of e instead of a e, and that really channels the sound straight out from the throat, directly out of the mouth. The waw, again, we said circle the lips when you're pronouncing the waw, and one of the other things is to avoid nasalization, which is of course the ghunna of these letters. One should avoid having any ghunna sound when stretching these letters. Focus on the sound through the mouth only. So some people, when they're reciting the waw or the ya, there's some ghunna sound that comes through. So for example, instead of saying yu'minun, they say yu'minun. So there's a slight sound difference. So if I say yu'minun, there's nothing coming through my nose. But if I say yu'minun, there's some sound coming through my nose as well. And the best way to check that is to actually hold your nose. So pinch your nose, so pinch it, close your nostrils, and say that same sound. So yu'minun, okay, you have to release it on the meme, on the M sound, because that's integral, that's intrinsic part of the ghunna. So what you say is yu'minun, okay, let's go to a different word. Say yarji'un, yarji'un. Here, in this one you don't have no sound. Yarji'un. Now pinch your nose and say, I'm going to pinch my nose and I'm going to say this. So yarji'un. At the end the noon comes. Yarji'un. So I had to let go of the nostrils while I said the noon sound. But there was no nasalization in the waw there. It's very important, and that's one of the ways that you can check if there's nasalization, if there's ghunna, by pinching your nose closed, your nostrils closed. So that's the empty space. The letters of the throat, the huruf al-halqi, are divided into three particular different areas. So one important thing to consider before you go, so in fact let's go here. Aqsa al-halq, which is the deepest part of the throat. Aqsa al-halq meaning the bottom area of the throat, the deepest, all the way at the bottom. So one important thing to consider here, Hamza. Now, alif can never have a haraka on it. Alif is only ever a med letter. So if, for example, you see an alif written in the Quran and there's a haraka on it, in actual fact it's not an alif, it's actually a Hamza. And that comes from the bottom of the throat. Yeah, it's the same as English. Yeah, just like at or arm, there's no difference at all. So that comes from Aqsa al-Halq, the deepest part of the throat. And the other letter which comes from Aqsa al-Halq, the deepest part of the throat, is ha, and it's like heart or hat. It's actually similar to that, and I'll put same as English, and that's just to make it a little bit easy for you, but it comes from a deeper part than English H. It comes from right at the bottom, close to the chest. And when you say ha, ha. You can actually feel your chest vibrate when you say the ha. So, al-hawa, al-hawa. You can hear that coming from, or you can feel that in your chest as well. So there's one slight difference between the ha in Arabic and the ha in English. Ha in English is very light. It's very simple to say, in a very simplified version of the ha. So that comes to aqsa al-halq, which is the deepest part of the throat, hamza and ha. So the next part is wast al-halq, and that's the ayn and the ha. So ayn is not in English, but it's similar to a in sound, but it comes from the middle of the throat. You have to feel a sensation in your throat when you're saying this ayn. Yeah? You say alamin, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Okay, feel the sensation. So it's strong, very strong. And it's indicated by this little apostrophe over here. So anytime you see this apostrophe, unless it comes at the end, or maybe at the right to the beginning, then maybe a hamza. But anyway, I'll differentiate between that. And the next one is ha. So that also comes from wast al-halq, from the middle of the throat. And ha is like haxo. Haxo is probably the closest word that comes to ha that is in the English language, because it's different to hammer and haxo. Haxo is a bit deeper, but it's still just like ha. And the first verse of Surah Al-Fatiha is very good because it's got the ha and the ayn in it both. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Hamdu. It's like a strong mint. When you have a strong mint, that really you feel that air pass through your throat. It's like the ha. So this comes from the middle of the throat. Perhaps from the middle of the throat while pushing out the air, really push out the air. So the adna al-halq, which is the uppermost part, or also known as the closest part of the throat, the two letters which come from here, and that's the first one is a ghain, which is like a raw, it's like a gargling sound. So when you put some water in your mouth, you're like doing wudu, or you're rinsing your mouth, sort of things like like this. It's the same like that. So it's not like a G, it's like a GH, it's referred to GH in English, and care should be taken when pronouncing this letter, as should the next one, kha. Kha also comes from adna al-halq. Kha is not in English. The only, for example, name that you may come across is Khalid. Like English people, they say Khalid. They say Khalid. They don't say Khalid, but it's actually Khalid. So some tips when we are pronouncing these three types of letters. These three areas of letters. The first one, of course, being the aqsa al-halq, at the top over here. The middle being wast al-halq, and the last being adna al-halq. So aqsa al-halq being the bottom part, wast al-halq being the middle, and adna al-halq being the uppermost part, to the right at the top. So the tips. So use a very deep area of the throat to pronounce the ha, okay, slightly deeper than H in English, and concentrating on pronouncing all of these letters properly at all times, as they are not common in other languages. Obviously, hamza and ha is as a and ha, but not ayn, ha, not ghain, kha. These are not common in other languages, especially not in English. So we have to make sure that we are pronouncing them properly and really concentrating on getting these letters out correctly. The next thing, ensure that the ayn and ha are pronounced by applying a lot of pressure on the sounds. There's a lot of pressure that is applied when you're saying these two particular letters, and there's ayn, and there's ha, and there's a, and there's ha, and there's u, and there's hu, and there's i, and there's hi. So you can hear the pressure that comes from the throat. This is one of the peculiarities of the Arabic language that has these two letters. And the last thing is to ensure that the ghain and the kha are pronounced from the upper area of the throat and not from the mouth. Because if you try to pronounce the kha from the mouth, you won't be able to say it. You say like ka. If you try to say a gha from the mouth, it's a g, it becomes a g. So make sure you pronounce these letters properly, and ensure that all these and all other throat letters are pronounced very clearly. So this goes through the huruf al-jawf, a, u, e, and it goes through the huruf al-halqi, so the huruf al-halq, the letters of the throat, and goes through the aqsa al-halq, hamza, ha, goes through the wast al-halq, the Ain Ha, and the Adna al-Halq, which is the Ghain Kha, and some tips. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next video, which explains some other letters, going on to the broad category of Huruf al-Lisan, the letters of the tongue.
Salam Alykum. Be sure to download your free implementation workbook. We go through it step by step. All the videos correspond with it. We have laid it out very strategically so you can master Quranic Tajweed and Quranic Mastery and implement it while you go along. Okay, so be sure to download this and it will help you on your journey. It's free to download. The link should be in the description. Assalamu alaikum. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please like this video so we know you enjoy it, as we can make more. Please write a comment and tell us what you thought about the lesson. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe now. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.